Today, I'm going to show you how to get 250K in 0% funded in only 30 days. All right, in only 30 days. Stick around to the end because at the end, I'm going to show you a custom funding strategy that I will create for a client to help them get 250K, not up to, but actually 250K in 0% funding in just 30 days. So we're going to talk about the requirements, and I'm going to show you approvals and the banks that I recommend and how much funding you can get from them. So let's go. What's going on? It's Colin Brown here from Business Credit Unlimited, and I'm back. So if you don't know who I am, again, I'm Colin Brown. I do help my clients secure up to millions, millions in 0% funding and really other forms of business funding too as well. And I've helped clients from 20 different industries. So I'm going off of firsthand information and not just things that I've saw from other YouTube videos and other people. Firsthand information on actually how to secure business funding and not the things that actually sound good on social media. Now, what do we have here? So again, we're talking about how you can get 250K in 0% funding from the banks. Okay. So let's jump in. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's jump on in. Now, it says here how to get 250K in 0% funding or business funding in 30 days. But now we're talking about 0% interest funding. First, before we go into the requirements and everything else, things to consider. Number one, let's talk about what is 0% interest funding, because you may be all the way up to this point and not know what that is. So 0% interest funding is when you have 0% and a 0% a 0% APR period on a business credit card that normally lasts 12 months, but I've seen as low as 6 all the way up to 18 months of 0% interest. Okay. So what does that mean? Because a lot of times with that, people say, oh, do you have to pay anything back in this 12 months or 6 to 18 months? Yes, you still have to make a minimum payment, but on the amount that you borrow, say if you have a 20K, really say if you got a 50K 0% interest business credit card and you borrow 30K out of that, you wouldn't pay any interest on that like you normally would with personal or business credit cards in this 0% APR period. Makes sense? And normally you only have to pay 1% of what it is too. So in that above example, your monthly payment would be exactly $300. So 1% of that 30K would be $300 that you would have to pay back to the bank every month for that 6 to 18 months. Depending on the bank, I'm saying 6 to 18 months because like a Chase is 12 months, American Express is 12 months, Citizens is 12 months. But then like a U.S. bank, they have one all the way to 18 months. And then Bank of America has 9 months. And then Key Bank has only 6 months. So it depends on the bank. That's why I'm saying 6 to 18 months. But let's look at this next thing on the thing to consider. So a 0% APR period only lasts, normally 12 months, 6 to 18 months. So you need to choose wisely. Just because we can get 250K in 0% interest in 12 months doesn't necessarily mean that you should or you have to do this. Okay. All right. And then the next thing, brand new businesses with $0 in revenue is normally going to take you longer to hit 250K. And, I title these videos things like this because it absolutely applies to tens and thousands of business owners, right? Or, even millions. But there is also a large portion of people this is not going to apply to. Like don't let anybody lie to you. Like if you have a brand new business, okay, brand new business, you never made any revenue at all, maybe your personal credit is not going to take you this far, like to 250 in 30 days. It's definitely possible. I've done it, but it's way more difficult. Like, I don't want to talk about a 1 in 100 type of thing here, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to talk about something, I want it to be like we literally can duplicate this, not just a hit or miss, or someone has to have the perfect this or that. So it may take you longer, but 250K definitely in like 3 to 6 months. Even if you have $0 in revenue, you normally can hit this number if you know what you're doing. Now, this is for business credit cards. As I mentioned, you will not get a 0% introductory period on a business line of credit or a business loan. Okay, so these are 0% interest business credit cards. Sometimes that's a deal breaker for some people. Don't know why, because any business owner can use a business credit card in their business. Doesn't matter what you do. You probably got personal credit cards, right? You might be using them or whatever the case, but you can use a 0% interest business credit card. You definitely can. Now, possible for no docs. So do you have to have tax returns and bank statements and stuff? It's possible to get 250K in 30 days at 0% with no docs at all, especially depending on the business owner. So I'm really talking about like if you brand new, because mainly the business owners that care about having no docs or not are those that don't have them yet, right? But say if you don't have any revenue at all, is it possible to hit 250K? We've done it before, yes. It's difficult though. You're going to increase your chances by at least having bank statements, which we're going to talk about when we talk about the requirements, which is next, because everyone will not qualify for 250K and 0% funding. I'm not the guy that's going to come on here and act like anybody can get $250,000, especially in 0% or whatever the case, because everybody will not, depending on where you're starting from. Because remember, we're talking about in 30 days, not period, not in 6 months or 12 months, because now it's a whole different story, a whole different video. We breaking things down differently. We talking about if you want to get this in 30 days, you ready to go, your business needs this amount, then this is for you. But again, well, it could be for you. Everyone doesn't qualify. So even if you don't meet the requirements, almost every business owner that's in the position from their personal profile should be able to get 50 to 150K in 30 to 45 days. It just won't be 250K. But you definitely could get 50 to 150K, for your business. Like 50 to 150K is like, it's just that once you get past 150, it's just harder to push for that 100, that extra 100, depending on, where you are in your business, where you start at, so on and so forth. 100% possible. Have we done it before? Absolutely. I could literally show you examples. But anyways, now let's talk about meeting the requirements, because that's step number one. You actually have to qualify. You can't just exist and then go get 250K from the banks. All right, now here are some of the requirements, just some of the requirements. There's more, but some of the major things you want to look out for when it comes to getting 0% interest funding for your business. All right, personal credit score. Well, first we're talking about personal credit. Your personal credit score, it needs to be 750 plus. Can it be lower? Can it be 720 to 730? Yes. Possible, yes. But you really want 750 plus. Okay. 750 to 780. Of course, 800, the higher, the better, obviously. But you want to at least have that. Now, to get a 750, you have to put in some work, right? So this is not going to work. If you don't already have a 750, and you had like 600 or something, do credit repair. Don't even think about it. Do credit repair. Unless you really verse in it, you have the time. Don't try to do it yourself. You're going to waste time. It is time consuming more times than not. It depends on what you got on your report, obviously. But yeah, just get it done, because you're not going to get it without a 750. You're not getting 250K in 30 days. Forget about it. Now, credit utilization for best results. You want to be at 3 to 9% credit utilization. Why? Because the lower your personal credit utilization, the better result you're going to get, meaning your limits are going to be higher. Okay. If you come in with 15, I know everything out there is like under 30. Make sure you're under 30. Well, look, you can do 15 or something, but don't be surprised if your limits are going to be lower than they would be a single digit. Over here at BCU, we preach single digit. We try to get all our clients single digit utilization. I've seen great results even at 9%, but you're really pushing it if you any higher than that. Now, there's going to be more videos. Like, this is not exhaustive on every single thing. I'm just explaining it right now, but we're going to have videos on all of this. So just stay tuned, y'all. Now, credit history, 5+ years. When I say credit history, not just average age, I'm talking about having a personal credit card that you have for over 5 years. All right. Highest limit on your personal credit cards needs to at least be 10K. But really, I would like to see like 25K, on a personal credit card. There's plenty of personal credit cards that will give you 25K. A Chase will, Discover will, Navy Federal will, Penn Fed will, and there's even more banks than that. Or like a 20K is cool too. We'll have another video on how to get higher limits on the personal credit cards, but really, you only need this if you don't have it. Like, don't be going out here going crazy on personal credit cards if you don't need them. No negatives. Next thing, you don't need, like, a lot of people just think this is nothing for some reason. Like, we'll talk and hey, what's going on with your credit profile? Oh, just 2 collections, but it shouldn't stop me, right? Or, I'm good. I only got late payments or this. You don't want any negatives. All right. You want a clean profile. If you're trying to get 250K in just 30 days, you shouldn't expect a bank to want to give you these higher limits if just 7 months ago, 2 months ago, you got a late payment on a credit card or something. Doesn't really make sense, right? Now, on the business side, you need some cash. When I say cash, of course, not physical, but I'm talking about in your accounts. 10K plus to play with. Really, even more than that would be ideal, because you're going to need to build relationships if you have not built them with certain institutions, which we're going to talk about here shortly. Business revenue. Here's the part that's going to kind of start dividing some people about who is going to qualify for this and who's not. I put here 25K a month plus in revenue. Really, of course, this could be a lot less, 10 to 15K. But if you are, like, again, brand new in business, no revenue, 250K is a little aggressive. You may be more in 30 days. In 30 days, you may be more of a 150, 180, 200 guy or gal. But that extra 50, unless you really, like, that's the thing. Like, if you really need 250K and you were super on it and you got with someone like me, depending on where you at with everything else, even if you have no revenue, we could get it done. All right. But it's going to be a lot harder. But revenue, back to that. You need some revenue in your business. You need to actually have a business that's generating revenue, like you're actually getting customers, you're actually getting clients, or whatever the case. Now, business age, 3+ years. Of course, you got age corps and things like that, but I mean, I would prefer you to, I don't know. Age corps, I might come back a year later and I may be all for age corps, but really just, it's better just have a business that you've already run and operated for this amount of time. All right. Now, establish banking relationships with major banks. If you're someone that you only have 2 credit union credit cards or something like that, it's probably going to be a lot harder. If you already have banking relationships established with major banks, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get there in 30 days. Reminder, stay to the end, because we about to really break it down here. But again, this is for 30 days, not in general. I'm not saying you can't get 250K. Maybe even like 90 days would be more suitable for a lot of you guys. But we talking in 30 days, this is what you're looking at. Okay. I don't want to hear it. All right. You need some banking relationships established with some major banks, the Chases, the American Expresses. And I have some of those banks we're going to go into. Okay. Now, what is a strong banking relationship? What is establishing a banking relationship with major banks? What does that look like? So you need to have a personal and business checking account, a merchant account, and other products that bank may offer, like a personal loan, maybe even business loan that you have with them, or other types of loan, equipment loans. You need to have a history with major institutions that lend out that amount of money, because a lot of you guys, like, a lot of stuff is out here, credit union this, credit union that. Well, it's harder to, what a lot of credit unions depend on the credit union, obviously. It's harder to establish multiple credit unions and get higher limits depending on that credit union, because normally credit union, they want you to kind of be with them and kind of want to see you get there longer, where a lot of the major banks, If you've already established history with them, hey, they way more likely to give you some higher limits, which we're going to talk about what higher limits are and all that in a second. Now, for a merchant account, you want to have deposits from business transactions, okay? Not just depositing money. Business transactions from actual customers and clients are better than cash deposits, especially if that transactional history is 6+ months. Oh, you're good. You know, you're going to be golden when it comes to getting 250K in 30 days. You don't need to have any non-sufficient funds or NSFs, as we call it, where say if you had an expense coming out your account for $300, but you only had $200 in there and the bank tried to pull it and you didn't have the money there, that is a no-no. It's going to be bad. And then for some banks, you can get shut down like that, like American Express, or take off your preset spending limit, things like that. So you have to be really cautious of this. And a lot of time with NSFs, it's like planning. It's not because you literally didn't have the money. It's just in another account or something like that. So just be careful. Now, bank rating. This is a whole nother video too. But for now, you want to be at a low 5 or so bank rating. Like have 10K plus, you know, in a business checking account. Especially if you've had them for a while now, you just haven't pulled the trigger. Because a lot of y'all just ain't pulled the trigger because you just, you know, scared. You don't know which one to go to. You want to do it right. So, you know, that's what a lot of my clients are. Like they're already in position. They just don't know which banks to apply for. And they want to do it right. They want to get the higher limits. Okay. So if that's you, yeah, 10K plus is amazing to have, especially if it's coming from deposits from clients. Okay. Can you finagle this? Could you, what they call, the word, what word am I looking for? Can you finesse? Yeah. Can you finesse this? Yeah, you can, but I wouldn't, because like, just grow your business, bro. Like all this finessing, all this stuff, all these methods out here is going to stop you from actually trying to establish a business. Okay. Now, what's next? Now you're in position, you know what you need to look for. Now let's talk about creating a funding strategy, which banks to go to. One thing that I would do is go to bankbranchlocator.com. Now I have a database of every single state in the banks that are there, what bureau they pull from, all that stuff. Like I have like on literally every single state. But if you don't have that, which more than likely, if you don't do what I do, you don't have anything like that. Even those that do what I do don't have that. So you can go to bankbranchlocator.com. Bankbranchlocator.com. All right. And go here. And this will show you a lot of the major banks that are in your state. Why do you need to go to your state? Because a lot of times, depending on the bank, you will not be able to get funding from that bank unless they are in that state. For example, Truist is a really good bank to get business funding from. However, they're only in certain states. You understand? So if you are in, like here in Alabama, we have a Truist, but in California, don't have any. So if you're in California, meaning your home and business address, or in California, you try to apply for Truist, it's not going to work. All right. Now, which banks do you currently have strong business banking relationships? You can go after those first. You already got American Express on the personal side or on the business side. You can go for more American Express, Chase, or whatever the case, because these are some of the top tier banks. Wells Fargo, PNC, US Bank. I put GM Marcus, but you don't have to have a strong relationship with them to get funding from them. You just got to know how to fill out the application, that's a whole nother video there. But yeah, you want to build relationships with tier 1 banks that give high limits. All right. So that's how you create your funding strategy. And the reason we create a funding strategy is because too many times, like we get all these videos with 150 different banks, but we don't know which one to apply to. Like which one works for me? Like which bank should I actually apply to and when? That's what's stopping y'all from getting your business funded. It's not the information. there's a lot of information out here on which banks are you're giving out this amount of funding. It's making it apply for you. I think it's not a good thing to know all this information. Like, I see so many people that are stuck on YouTube and Instagram Reels, but not actually going to get business funding because they don't know how to apply that said information. Okay, now, which banks can you get high limit 0% interest funding from? It depends on your state. That's what I was just explaining earlier. And no, foreign entities will not work for every bank. Like a Citizens Bank, they don't care if you do a foreign entity. If your home address is not located in a state where they have a footprint, then you will still not be able to apply. Trust me, I used to try it. Okay, they don't have, Citizens doesn't have and I'm just using one bank as an example, but Citizens, they don't have a location in Alabama, and this is what we're dealing with. So I can't apply for them unless I get a home address that is in one of the states that they're located in. Speaking of, let's look at a simple funding strategy. Oh, I showed y'all too much. Let's look at a simple funding strategy for how to get $250K, 0% interest for 12 months for a business owner that lives in Ohio. Number one, we could go to Chase Bank. Normally, we can get 100 to 150K with just Chase. Okay, now let me show you here. So what you see on your screen now is my Circle community. So Circle essentially is my community where we have like-minded business owners that are looking to start, grow, and scale their companies using business funding. And my clients are in here, we're communicating with them, so on and so forth. Now, we're going to talk about this approval in a second. I know I'm skipping past. Y'all may be like, dang, I see that 50K. Let's go to Chase, some Chase approvals. Camilla here got approved for 75K from Chase. Rashawn here got approved for 75K with Chase. Rigoberto, he got approved for 75K here with Chase. I promise you I can keep going here in the group. But point is, you can get higher limits from Chase if you have the right access, the right business relationship manager, so on and so forth. But you can get that 75K and double back and get a 25K. You can get 2 Chase Inc. business credit cards from them. Or you can do like a 50-50. It don't matter as long as you get to that 100 to 150. I've even seen 2 75 and 75 to the 150. You get 150, now you only need a 100 to hit that 250K goal, right? So let's keep going. Second, Citizens Bank, because Citizens has a footprint inside of Ohio. Okay, so Citizens is here. So we can go to Citizens. Now, I was saying that earlier. A lot of times we get 50K approvals from Citizens Bank. This is my client, Amon. At the time I'm recording this, it's been less than 24 hours since he got 50K. Okay, so, and did he show docs? No. Does he have like ton of revenue reporting all this stuff? No. So if you know what you're doing, you can get these higher limits. Now, American Express, we got so many American Express approvals. It's insane. That's another thing. American Express is more on relationship and also like relationship and how you fill out the application. So there's a 25K approval there from Brian, just to show you it's possible. That's the only reason I'm showing you this, because you can do it on your own or whatever the case, work with me, whatever. But I just want to show you that it's actually possible. You can get 2 of those. That's why I put 25 to 50K. So even if we're looking at the lower amounts, you're already pretty close to 250K. Now you see, my method is to get the highest limits possible with the least amount of accounts. Where a lot of people out there, they like doing 50 to business credit cards to get 250. Like, I like getting higher limits. It's just a lot better for the clients and everything. So anyways, US Bank can go 50 to 100, 50 to 100K. I've seen both. I've seen 50K limits and I've seen 100K limits. This is going to be more, not so for newer business owners, but if you already have US Bank and you have a strong relationship with them, they will give you out higher limits. They don't like newer banks as much. I mean, newer business owners as much. Okay. And then the next one I put is like KeyBank, PNC, Bank of America, things like that. PNC, KeyBank, Bank of America. If you needed to finish out, you could get 25 to 75K from one to all three of these banks. So that would be your 250K. Even if we went on the lower end, we still at 250K at 0% interest. And this all could be done within 30 days, no problem. Depending on your relationship, you only let one. Ooh, you can do this in like 1 to 3 increase too. Hard increase on your profile. So depending on, it's possible. I'm just saying, not everyone, but it's possible depending on where you at, how many relationships you had coming in, so on and so forth. Step 3, apply and be approved. Boom. Now make sure to take advantage of your 250K at 0% interest. Again, keep in mind, since you have a period, it's not always wise to get as much as you can, like within the same year. Can you double back, and is 250K the max you can get? No, obviously not. But I'm just saying that if you need more of a 100, 150, get that first, use it, and then you can start getting more. Like, don't be one of these people that just want higher limits just for the sake of saying you got it. If your business demands it, which a lot of our businesses do, get it. But if it doesn't, you don't have to go crazy. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. I broke this down for you. There's some other elements within this that needs its own breakdown, but now you see how you can get 250K and 0% interest funding in less than 30 days. Now I have another video I want you to check out. Speaking of these higher limits, where I got a Chase business line of credit for 150K. You can check that out. Should be a link. That video should be below, and I might put it on the screen. But other than that, stay tuned. We're about to start dropping videos here weekly, and that's it. Until the next time, see y'all later. Let's get funded. Peace.